Um, Today, we're going to talk about a woman's voice, and I really put out a question wondering, what's the very first thing that goes on inside you when you hear that phrase, a woman's voice? We are really looking at, historically, the meaning of a woman's voice, the woman's voice in the Me Too movement and some of the shakeup that's occurred, which is to be expected. And then we're looking at Women's Equality Day on Sunday. So I would like to tie it all together as we get ready for an honoring of Women's Equality Day on Monday's Live. So think to yourself, just feel it inside. What's the first thing that happens inside you when you hear the phrase, a woman's voice? Historically, a woman's voice was hushed. Hi, Tony and Valentina. Thank you for joining me. Historically, a woman's voice was hushed. It was, at one time, there were women who were not allowed to sing. Women were not allowed to have voice in politics. The suffrage movement wasn't until the 1900s. It actually started in England in the late 1800s. But women, when they did have a voice, they were called aggressive or shrill. The history of a woman's voice is a workshop in and of itself, and most women who have heard me talk about this and men, by the way, are blown away by the history of what happens with a woman's voice. We are not socialized to be equal in a voice in our society. And so we have the Me Too movement that started almost a year ago. It was in October of 17 that all of a sudden women in Hollywood responded to the abuse that they were tolerating. That was then joined by over 700,000 women in the farming industry and the industry. And all of a sudden women rose out of silence and had a voice. And of course we were criticized. There's tremendous misunderstanding in the past 10, 11 months. The upset has been unbelievable. But as I have been saying about that movement from the beginning, a woman's voice will rise up, and in her strength and in her courage is always healing. And in that healing and in that embrace, we knew that the voice of the movement was going to include everyone eventually. And that we were going to hear from the men, that we were going to hear from everyone who has been assaulted sexually by another person, and that sexual assault would probably move into abuse. And we're seeing it now. We're seeing men rise up and accuse women of sexual harassment and sexual assault. We're seeing that as part of this movement, and I applaud everyone because it's not just at this point now going to be about women. It is about us having a voice, however. We're also now seeing a little bit of breaking down in the original women who had a voice and now are being accused of assault. And that also is common. We're going to make it through that as well. The silence of a woman's voice needs to open, and that means we need to open from all angles. And so we look at equality. We don't want to be equal in our sexual abusive tendencies, but anyone who has ever been sexually abused oftentimes will try to master that abuse by reenacting it in some way. Doesn't make it okay, but it does help us understand why abuse in this country is so prevalent. It is at epidemic levels, not just sexual abuse, but the physical and mostly emotional and verbal abuse. It is horrific in this country. It's a breakdown in almost every single one of our relationships. Well, that was a little dramatic, but anyway. So it is in a woman's voice that we begin the healing, that the women have always been the healers. And not that men aren't, it's just that's part of that female energy. And so our voice carries with it, as some people said on Facebook, it's maternal. I think Roxana started that, Jane agreed. It's the first voice that a baby in the womb hears is its mother's voice, or that it knows. It then becomes familiar with the partner. If there is a partner to that woman, if she's a surrogate carrying the child, it's the person most around that female carrying the child. So the voice of a woman is exceptionally powerful. And we must think about that. Because sometimes equality is found in the unique inequality that we offer as a woman versus the unique inequality that a man offers. And so it is in those differences that we find the balance. Where we treat each other unequal is a problem. Women and men It makes no difference. We are one. So on Women's Equality Day, we really want to look at what came up politically so that we could have a voice, what's coming up in the Me Too movement so that we can have a voice, how we're starting to be an interactive and respected, honored position. A few weeks ago, I talked about the Wonder Woman backpack. This little boy was all excited about Wonder Woman as his superhero. We're starting to be seen as the heroes. Again, that's having a voice of some sort. So again, a woman's voice, I would like everybody to think about it a little differently as of today. Think about the history. Think how we kept silent. We kept everybody's secret. We weren't heard. We took a more passive role. A lady sat quietly. A boisterous woman was a woman with a voice. You know, how come? Why was it that we weren't allowed to be heard, to be seen, to be known, to be the intellectual wonders that we are? We create, we process. That's an important part of the whole world of communication, right? So let's change our view on how a woman's voice is connoted. We are strong. We are powerful. We are maternal. We are healing. We are embracing. We are creative. We are processing. We are emotional. And that's not weakness, that is strength. We carry a lot through our voice. We sing and we love. And let's think of all of those beautiful attributes the next time we hear the phrase, a woman's voice. And if anyone says she needs to this, that, or the other with her voice, let's turn right back around and teach that person that we are nothing but a beautiful, graceful, powerful voice built upon healing and embracing and unifying community. I saw on Facebook the other day that Emma Gonzalez from Parkland, the first female voice to be heard, a meme was made making fun of her as if she was the bullier. And it was not only a lie, but it was a horrific lie. But again, it teaches us what happens when a woman has a voice. She becomes a very ugly target. So remember, the voice of a woman. It carries with it a very graceful, powerful, healing, unifying song that will rise out of the aggression and the hate and the divisiveness of this country and absolutely change the way we see community and one another. Honor yourself as woman. Honor the women around you. Honor our voices and honor your own. Thank you for joining me today. We have listened to the voice of all of you regarding what time Facebook Live needs to be. So first and foremost, I want you to all know we're moving to 12:30 as of Monday for Monday's Facebook Live, where we will be talking about equality, Women's Equality Day and women's equality in general. And so I want to thank everybody again for interacting on Facebook and for joining me today in the interaction and for watching me later on. Thank you for all of you who view me and share this video with your friends and people on Facebook. Please remember to also view me on YouTube. We have reached 400 subscribers. Woohoo! So we're very, very, very excited about that. I do have a podcast that we share on that, as well as a lot of little Christianisms that are a bit more fun. So again, I look forward to seeing each and every one of you Monday at 12:30 here on Facebook Live. Tony, thank you. She says, I'm going to get teary. I will honor our voice. Yes, 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 yes. Let's honor our voices, because as one, as women, we are never to be reckoned with, because we are the healers. So thank you all for joining me. I'm Kristen Bomas. Have an absolutely magical weekend full of creative female voice.